What is going on, guys? Today I just want to make a quick video and talk about these planted seat brackets that I bought for my car, specifically for a Supra, because I can't say how they fit in other cars, but I guess you can tell by the title, I wasn't really impressed with how they fit, just because, I'll show you. So these are the cipher seats that I have in the car. They're bolted down and they're now using some of the old brackets that I had on my Sparcos before. So you can see right here that the center console, the hard plastic part and the rubber part, both sit above the actual seat. And then right here, if you see how much room we have, it's not that much room, it's kind of tight. But that's with those brackets, right? So I'm going to show you what I didn't like about these planted seat brackets. Look how much taller they are. This is the bracket that I took out of the car. So this bracket fits in the car, no problems. It's honestly just over an inch from the ground. It's not focusing, but it's just over an inch. It's not even an inch and 1/8. The top of the old bracket to the top of the planted seat bracket, we're at an inch and a half. So this bracket sits an inch and a half higher than this one. So of course an inch and a half doesn't sound like much, but when you're working with limited room, it is. An inch and a half, you see where that puts that right there. So it puts the side of the seat above the center console right there. So that, you know, tells you how much higher it is right there. And then obviously this isn't going to be the best way to measure it, but if you figure if that's an inch and a half, look how close that is to the ceiling. It almost touches the ceiling. So what happens is when it does sit that tall, when it sits that high and you recline the seat, it would touch it back there at the very bottom, at the very back. So I'd have to keep the seat adjusted forward a little bit, like right here. Same thing goes for up front. You see how it touches the visor right here? It touches the visor, but it'll still go past it. Or worst case, you know, you can just flip it down. You flip it down, it'll just go past it. So that's what these brackets. So like I said, an inch and a half, it would have stopped right there regardless of how this is. Now as far as me sitting in here right now, I have, okay, so right now I'd probably feel comfortable driving it with it right about right here. So you can see the amount of headroom that I have is good, and right now where my arm is on the armrest, it's comfortable. Same thing with the center console. When I was riding, or when I put the other seat brackets in, I was sitting, that inch and a half actually made it to where my elbow didn't touch the armrest. I had to kind of like really let it drop to touch the armrest, and that kind of made it uncomfortable. I was kind of left just having my arm like this. So probably not the biggest deal for some people, but for me it was kind of annoying. And I also felt like I was on top of the car. Almost felt like you were sitting at a kitchen table where your knees are bent 90 degrees for your feet to touch the floor. That's how it felt in here, and that's not how it should feel in a car like this. So I mean, I really just didn't like the seating position. Not only that, when I would lean forward, my head would touch right here. I'm not a tall guy, so my head should never touch that. So my head would touch that, my seat would touch back here and right here. It wasn't that good. And like I said, overall I just felt like I was on top of the car. It wasn't a good seating position. And for a company that, you know, builds the bracket based on the car, I would have liked it a lot better if they actually took that into account. You want to mount these seats as low as possible. I don't know if it's because they have their low mount brackets and stuff like that they didn't want to spend a lot of time designing something to be as low as possible. But ideally, that should be what you want to do. If the person wants to raise the seat, they make spacers for that you can put on the seats. So there's really no reason to have the seat sit that high or have the bracket itself that high. I don't know. There's nothing on the floor that, like if I pull this seat up, or this one's not bolted to anything, so if I pull this one up, yeah, there's an amp right there, but the actual amp is only in the center, so your seat bracket won't touch that. And if it did, we're talking maybe a quarter of an inch difference. It's not that much. It's not, you know, an inch and a half difference. No. Now if you had Kirkies or something like that, yeah, the base of the seat would probably be a little bit higher. But a Kirky is so thin, like it's like almost like sheet metal with a very thin padding if you want to run the padding. So in that case, you don't really notice it until you look at the back height of the seat. Yeah, so you figure an inch and a half higher than what the other bracket is, and then the 3 inches thickness of the seat. We're talking, you know, we're talking about 4.5, 5 inches. That's a big difference in seat height and where you sit in the car. So overall, I'm just not happy with them. I am sending them back. They just, I don't know, they look nice, they feel nice, they feel quality. They're not as heavy as my other brackets, which, I mean, we're talking probably about maybe 2-3 pound difference, but you know, it looks nice and it bolts up fine to the car. You have plenty of options right here of what seats to run, where you want to bolt them, where you want to mount them. So that stuff is all good and great, but the overall height is just, I don't understand why they made it that big. I hear Titan and a couple other companies have lower seat brackets for Supras. This might not be an issue for other brands. They might have a couple other brackets, different styles for different cars that don't sit that high. But as far as the Supra, it's a no-go for me. But like I said, I just want to make a quick video, let you guys know how I feel about these brackets. So if you just got seats and you're looking for brackets, or you're about to get seats and you're just browsing and see what brackets you need to use, just keep in mind how these brackets actually sit in the car. And I don't imagine that they're gonna sit that much different than any other car. Like I said, sedan, whatever, maybe it's okay, but for a car that's like this, it's that small and it's designed for you to sit almost on the floor, it's just, in my opinion, not the way to go. Like I said, I don't want to bash any companies, but I just don't want to see somebody waste time and or money on something like this, because I mean, I wasted time. I didn't drive my car for 2-3 weeks, you know, between ordering brackets, waiting for them, then taking my old ones, modifying them, and test fitting it, you know, while doing everything else that you do on a day-to-day basis. It just wasn't really what I would have liked to do. So if I can help anybody out with this video, I'll be happy with that. But like I said, that's going to wrap up the video. So please like, comment, subscribe, and continue to check out the channel for more updates on the Supra and other car-related content. Take care, guys.